Wallace.
And I have Don Holly here with me.
3 phases, dressage, cross-country, show jump. And you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right. You know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently.
Welcome to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. This is our Christmas edition, and this is our 24th episode on our second season.
Yeah, that's awesome. That means we've had like 48 minimum episodes.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of shows, man.
It's a lot of shows. I've had a lot of fun. This is really great. It's Christmas time. We're here in front of your Christmas tree.
Yes.
With your Christmas dog.
With my Christmas dog.
Actually, little antlers you could take Santa's sleigh on out.
Yeah, he's saying it's dinner time. Somebody needs to feed me.
We've had a lot going on. I know not a lot of horse showing.
No, not a lot of horse showing. It's kind of the off season. My horses are just all back from holiday.
And how are they doing?
They're doing great. They're doing great. No, none of them have bucked me off yet.
That's good.
So that's a plus.
Excellent.
And everybody's behaving.
Well, I know we have been busy. I know on the last show we kind of skirted on the topic of being in England. We were there for 10 days. Elisa Briggs and myself went, and we were looking for some horses for Elisa.
Yep.
We went to Fernhill, met Carol G, saw Fraser, Alex Green. We went up to Northern Ireland. We hung out with Lucinda Green and Lissa Green and Catherine Coleman. Had Richie and Kaz, friends of ours that were over there. Just had a great time and found 2 horses.
That's awesome. So
I'm not going to.
But you said you can't give us.
I'm not going to say who they are. I know that we are purchasing them and then we're going to syndicate them. But one's a gelding 11-year-old that's doing the 3-star from England, and the other one's a 7-year-old Holsteiner thoroughbred from Northern Ireland that has gone intermediate. Super horses, both passed the vet 100%. We're waiting to get Duda, the corporation that gives horses wings.
That's right.
The flight's over and they're booked up. There's horses coming.
But I'm sure now that you've given them a little bit of that free press, they're going to look after you.
Tim, did you hear that?
Yeah. Horses
have wings.
That's
Ours
right.
need them soon.
Yeah, let's get some wings on them and get them over here.
Looks like they're not going to be here until like January 15th or so. But she'll make the announcement. I think we're just putting things together and making the shipping arrangements, and so we're waiting for the big reveal.
That's exciting. And so when that announcement comes out, it'll be coming out on Elisa's.
On her social media, we'll put it on ours, and then we'll get details out for syndication. I know the one horse, the big gelding, we have a lot that are interested in that, and then the mare, we're going to be working on maybe more of a partnership type of thing.
Right.
So excited about that. We were over there for 10 days. Expected to come back and go to the convention, the USCF convention in New Mexico, and I knew when I was over there we weren't going to have the legs and the ability to get to the convention, so we're going to rely on you to tell us what happened there.
So I'm like the first guest, really.
You are the first guest.
Oh, this is exciting. I've never been a guest on my
Talk
show
to us
before.
about John. So your trip to New Mexico, how was that?
Okay, so the USCA, they did a great job putting on the convention. Like the nuts and bolts of it were very good. I would say Albuquerque was a little slow. Things are still a little bit closed down there for the reason that we will not speak. Seashells, right? So like there wasn't as much social aspect to it, which obviously is a nice part of it. You get to go catch up with all your friends. But I think, excuse me, we've all unfortunately gotten used to the fact that we can't socialize all the time like we used to.
And in certain more in some states than others.
Right. And so Albuquerque was not the easiest place to have it, to be quite frank. But
you made it through.
We made it through. The meetings all happened like they were supposed to happen. I got in there Thursday night. I got out Saturday evening, and the meetings were good.
Did you get to chair your position on your committee, and how did that go for you on the first at the gavel?
Well, I have to say, like, we'll get into a little bit of the USCF stuff, but the staff at USCF in the eventing department, I've always known they were really good, but
Right.
I never really had a lot of one-on-one with them.
Mhm.
They're incredible. You have just a great group of people there. They had me prepped for my meeting. I understood all of the material. They made sure I knew what everything was ahead of time. And not that when you're on a committee you don't know, but when you're the chair, you gotta really know
You
it.
got to really know it, and you relying on staff
Yes.
that have they
They
live
know
it.
it.
They live it.
Yep.
So that's good for you. So you were well prepped.
I was well prepped, and again, thank you to the eventing department at USCF because
We'll have to get a list of their names and
yeah,
shout out to them.
they're awesome. It's Amber Braun.
You don't want to leave anybody
I don't
out.
want to leave anybody out.
But thanks, Amber.
Christina Vaughn is awesome.
Right.
And yeah, then I'm gonna screw up and mess
That's
up.
okay. All of them, they know that you
Yeah.
mean well.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So what came out of that? Anything?
There was a bunch of stuff. There is. I'd have to go through the agenda and
Just
and find.
why don't you pick something that's big? I know we're going to talk about the team code.
Yeah, the high performance stuff was kind of periphery, to be
Right.
honest, for the sport
Sure.
committee because really there's got to be a task force put together to come up with a plan
That plan.
to move it forward.
Mhm.
So that really didn't come a lot through there. So it was a lot of like going over the rules.
Calendar.
Calendar was discussed a lot in there, and there'll be some things coming out of that in the near future
Right.
that I can't really discuss right here. But
Sure.
yes, the calendar was discussed a lot, and yeah, there's the appendix 3
Yep, that's
that
the
was discussed a
NERs.
bunch. Yeah, so
Yep.
that's
So that's the qualifying categories that you're going to have to be moving up levels.
right. And so right now, basically, like the numbers, if you recall, originally that came out of the cross country committee
Right.
was 15.
Right.
That's been changed significantly. Now I think it's down to like 6 at a level to move up to the next level. But once you've done, and I don't have it in front of me,
Right.
so I don't want to say for sure, but once you've done a certain number of competitions, it's basically what it always has been.
So when's that layout going to happen?
I
Did
think
that pass?
No, so that doesn't get put forward. I believe that goes forward in March.
And then it goes through the August.
Right, then it'll go through the whole rule
And
change
then it will
thing.
come up for the next 2023.
Right,
Okay.
you got it.
So that's probably the best way to do it, though.
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be fast tracked.
So let's jump tracks to Eric Devander, his contract being not renewed, and what's been going on, and who came to the convention that typically doesn't come to our convention
Right,
too often.
So Bill Maroney came. He answered a lot of questions.
President or CEO of the
CEO
USCF.
of the USCF, yeah. And so he came and basically answered a lot of questions that were sent to him. So he took some from the crowd, but most of them were questions that had been emailed into him. And then he read the question and gave the best answer that he could give. I thought he did a pretty good job of it.
Was there any question that stood out, or that I think I kind of remember somebody in the audience, because I did catch a couple sound clips. Was there anybody in the audience that had a really good question?
Well, from the audience part, that actually would be tough because I had to leave to go do another committee
Gotcha.
meeting, and that was like that was only probably the last 10 minutes, 15
So
minutes.
how about the questions that he did read?
A lot of the questions were like, why did we do this now? Why are we changing things right before the World Championships coming up this year? And the thing that he made very clear, which was a little bit lost on me, was every Olympic discipline gets reviewed after the Olympics. So normally, after the Olympics, we have an off year, and then
Your world
we
championship.
have World Championships. Because the Olympics in Tokyo got delayed a year, they have to review them now. They have to decide what they want to do for the next 4-year cycle, and unfortunately, we don't have that gap year now.
Right.
So it's a decision that is tough on the riders and tough on high performance because you're saying to them, look, you guys have been doing a great job. I think it's fair to say that the U.S. is doing really well. We've got Will Coleman, who just won Aachen. We've got Boyd, who just won Maryland. We did really well at the Nations Cup at Ocala. Tammy's looking awesome. Jenny Brannigan looks amazing. Like, there's a lot of riders really coming on that you're like, wow, this is going to be awesome. Hallie Kuhn is doing well. Yeah, there's just, I mean, the list goes on and on, where the trend seems to be that the American riders, the high performance riders, are looking really good.
Right. So why now?
Right. It's tough timing, and I wish, and as I say this, it's not that I'm holding anything back. I don't have more information than anybody else, and I kind of don't want it.
Well, and I think to your point, he said a lot, but didn't answer. I mean, he answered questions, but there was no stake through the heart of the reason that they didn't renew his contract.
Right.
So it was an accumulation of their review of things that they felt wasn't moving our program in the direction that the vision was to go.
Correct.
So now we're trying to look for that vision, putting out the RFP. Where are we on our segment?
We got about 30 seconds left.
So
That's all right.
what we're going to do,
segment.
we're going to come into the next segment talking about what is that vision? Do we know what it is? Or are we going to see who applies? I think we need to go into that in the next segment and talk about that.
All right, well, let's take a break now, and then we'll come back and get into that.
All right, great.
Want to advertise on the Jon and Rick Show? Contact Jon at 352-875-8622
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
You know who really loves horses? Chiros. That's short for chiropractor. My friends Dr. Philip and Dr. Angela from Synchrony Chiropractic taught me that. And right now you can visit KairosLoveHorses.com. That's KairosLoveHorses.com and mention the Jon and Rick Show when you book for a special treat from these special docs. I now know horses need a chiropractor too, and the team over at KairosLoveHorses.com, that's KairosLoveHorses.com, have got their back. Again, check out KairosLoveHorses.com, that's KairosLoveHorses.com.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm is the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, and amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can-Do Joe Adams of Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are in our Stress Less segment here in our Christmas a special.
We are in your beautiful home with your beautiful tree.
Yeah.
And this is great. And Stress Less, Betty Ledyard,
Yep.
brought this product to us years ago. Stress Less for Horses is an all-natural equine supplement that helps promote calmness and focus in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, or travel. Stress Less horses is a non-herbal, all-natural, and show safe.
Right, and it's made from casein, right?
Yeah, from the mother's milk.
Right. Right.
Horse's mother's milk.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope. That'd be kind of weird otherwise.
I would totally agree with you. Stress Less is really a cool product. I use it on all our horses, and it really helps. And I know you actually did a testimonial not long ago that a lot of people took notice. It's like you're like some social media
I'm a mogul. I like to think of
Buzz.
myself as like a multi media mogul, basically.
Oh,
like
cool.
that's the Jon and Rick show. We are like what is it that come on, the Will Ferrell movie?
Oh, Elf?
No. One it'll come
gosh,
to me.
it's gonna come.
It'll come to
It'll
me.
come up. Maybe somebody else will shout out some Will Ferrells.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were talking about the high performance stuff, and you were asking me some questions about it.
I was
trying to remember from the annual meeting, from what Bill was telling us.
Well, and I think it because I wasn't there, but also because I have not gone back and looked at his interview, or not the interview, the convention.
Right.
Nor have I seen any recent write-ups of the convention.
Right.
I just feel like what we need to do now is, obviously that needs to be pushed aside.
Yep.
We are where we are.
Exactly.
And we've got to focus on what needs to be done at the World Championships in Italy.
Yep.
Which, by the way, we have some fantastic. We're going to segue off for a
Yep.
second because we have a really good friend that's going to Italy.
Yeah. So Peter Gray is on the ground jury for
Wow.
the World
eventing.
Championships, and
Yeah.
it's a great ground jury. So I believe, if I have it right, it's Peter Gray, Christina Klingspor, and Nick Burton.
Right, and he's the president.
Yeah, Nick Burton is the president, is my understanding.
Well,
so.
cool. So this all leads into now. Congratulations, Peter. I think that is an awesome.
Well, and such a meteoric rise as an official. He did Kentucky last year, and he's just shot up the ranks and does such a good job.
He does a terrific job,
Um,
and so we're excited about that. But I think you were in our conversations, just as we talk a lot. You were talking about now we don't have a coach.
Right.
We're leading up into the World Championship 2022.
Yeah.
But to your point, we have a really high functional USEF staff for
Yes.
eventing, and highly functional, very capable riders.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think is going to be that prep for the World Championships while we search for a coach,
I mean,
or whatever that's going to be?
yeah. I mean, I'm not sure I totally understand the question, but
What the prep would be. So my question would be, okay, so kind of on the concept of what we're looking for. Are we looking for a coordinator are we looking for a coach? Are we looking for a trainer? The riders now need to just develop their program with
Right.
their trainers, get ready for the World Championships based on what they know they need to do to get prepped.
So, absolutely. So I think the thing is, if I were, and I'm not, but if I were in the mix this year, I would be planning to go out and do my own thing.
Right.
And get to Kentucky, or whatever my spring 3-day event is going to be, my long would be, and plan to beat everybody.
So you would take, and plan to beat everybody, but you would take the dates for the World Championships.
Yeah, which I would think is September.
You would back into, like you would do, you would say, I'm doing Kentucky, because
Yep.
obviously that's
where you want to be.
That's where you want to go.
Yep.
You want to finish in the top 3.
Yep.
And
have a sound horse to finish.
And then you got to think about, once that happens, the selection comes into
Then
then you got to think about what you're going to do here in the summer to get yourself prepped to go to Italy. What do you do? Let's just say you're third at Kentucky. You've got now nobody yet telling you or coordinating what's going to happen to get to Italy. What would you do in the summer?
Well, what I would do is work back from the World Championships as my end goal, like I do any of my
Right.
longs, and I would set my competition plan to get there. By the time that happens, these riders are going to know, first of all, there will be a guy in place by then,
Right.
I'm sure, a
I'm-
person,
I'm just
a
saying.
woman, a man, whatever, in place. But yeah, I would work the calendar back and have it set that this is what I'm going to do. I think the other thing that would be really important is to realize that you're going to have these team members going, you aren't going to be able to have your personal coach at the World Championships.
Right.
You're going to have whoever goes for the U.S. to be that person.
So that's interesting, because I'm not to interrupt you, but I thought there was some conversation about being able to get their personal coaches into the championships.
I don't think that'll happen. There wouldn't be enough credentials to get that
Okay.
done. So there will have to be a centralized coach of some sort, a chef, whatever you want
When you
to
get
be,
there.
to
Okay.
get you there. Absolutely.
So you would lead into it, you would go forward, you think there's going to be a woman or a man in place for that coordination to get to the World Championships. So you think from now, which is almost January,
Yeah.
to, where do you think, they haven't even written the RFP.
Right.
Got to get that out, then we got to get it all done, right?
Right.
So you think somebody will be in place by Kentucky?
I would think so. I don't know. That's just my guess.
And I think we've had our private conversation saying, who wants that job?
Right. I think it's a tough job, and I think that's where they have to be really smart about, in my opinion, when you put out word that, yeah, hey, we're looking for somebody, I don't think you want to narrow it down too much and say, this is the job. I think you want to sort of, in my opinion, leave it very broad and say we're looking for somebody to run the high performance program
Right.
and see who applies and then tailor it to their skill set.
Because then you're going to know who you have.
Right.
Because you don't know who's going to apply.
Right, you have no idea. We could have a bunch of people, we could have 2 or 3, and I think you got to see who's coming in and then figure it out for that. So,
Yeah, and I think Ian Stark's still an advisor.
yeah, he's part of the performance advisory team.
Right. So they will have an advisor.
Well, they have a whole group. So Karen O'Connor is on
That's
that.
right.
Leslie Law is on that.
They have a group of people.
Ian
they
Stark
can
is on that. It's a really good. I think Bobby Costello's on there still.
Right.
Maybe Bobby might be off now. I think Bobby's off. He stepped down. But anyway, it's a great group, and they basically are going to be the guys helping with these
Right.
lists and all of that. So.
And then we're talking about lists, and I know we talked about the under 25 has now come up with a list of people that want to be considered for the under 25 list.
Right.
So I think there was some miscommunication, at least in my part, understanding how that list came about, and what is your point on that?
Yeah, just, I think what everybody needs to realize is that's not really a list, like a training list. That is a
Application.
listing of people who applied and are going to be going to an assessment to decide who makes the list.
And there was minimum requirements, which
Yep.
was a 3-long completion.
Correct.
So, I've been in this in helping Elisa. I always tell her this: always put your application in,
Yeah.
no matter what. And I think I failed my job with my partner, Briggs,
Right.
by telling him you should put your because they look at talent even though they haven't done the 3-long yet. He's been at 3-star for 2 years.
Right.
But he hasn't finished
but you
the
have to
3-long.
have applied
Right.
to be talent spotted on. But you know what? Like, lesson learned. The point is, at the beginning of the year, anything you think you have a
You
shot
apply for it.
Apply for it.
Yeah.
So I do want to make sure one thing we talk about just before we have to finish up
Right.
this segment is our friends over at Synchrony Chiropractic, Philip Roger and Angela Roger, they've just come on board
As
as a
a
sponsor. They've
Yep.
worked on my horses. They're incredibly kind people, and they've had a pretty
They had a
terrible-
young family with the pregnancy and
So they
had
had-
we're having twins.
Yeah, so she was pregnant with 2 twin girls, and there was complications. They had to do an emergency C-section at 26 weeks,
Wow.
and really tragically, one of the baby girls, Haley Grace, passed away.
Oh, sad.
So obviously our hearts go
Definitely.
out to them, and I'm not a doctor,
Right.
so I don't want to get into the specifics of the
There was
syndrome and all of that.
some
but-
kind of syndrome that created a problem in which they had to take the baby. So they want to raise awareness for that syndrome, which we'll find out what that is and put it on the website.
Yeah, and I've got it. I'm here on his Facebook page, and we will link it over. And I
Right.
actually already have, but I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Onto the Jon and Rick Show Facebook page,
Sure.
so that everybody can go there. Please go and check it out.
And then, do they have a GoFundMe? Because I know that medical expenses are going to be pretty tough. Or
Yeah, I
or
think
ways-
it's through something called Meal Train, and I
Okay.
will put that on there. and make sure during the break that it's all.
Well, I think we got to support our own, and our hearts go out to you. I know losing a child is just tough, but having their second child, the twin sister.
Yeah, Emma is doing really well apparently, and is getting ready to celebrate her first Christmas.
Well, very good. You got to take the angel of the first one and bring the angel of the second one and come together and have a good Christmas as best as you can.
Absolutely. So I just want to make sure that we mention them and let them know that we're thinking of them.
That's super. We will.
So with that said, I think we need to take a break.
Yep.
And we are going to be back with David O'Connor.
All right, David.
So thank you again to Stress Less. We appreciate you supporting this segment, and we'll be back with David O'Connor.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
Hi, I'm John Halling, and this is my wife Jen, and we run Halling Eventing out of Willow Run Farm here in Ocala, Florida. We love our Jump for Joy jumps.
We are standing in front of one of my favorites, which is our Jump for Joy angled brush, which we have up on our bank complex so we can prepare the horses for the 3 days that are coming up. And it is very mobile, and we can put it anywhere we need to give the horses the questions that they need to see before we go and compete.
So we love them for cross country. We also have them in our show jump ring. They're great. You never have to paint them. Maintenance is super easy. And like Jen was saying, the shoulder brush here and any of the portable cross-country jumps that Jump for Joy makes are great. They're easy to move around, change the courses. We love them.
You can put them in the water jump. You can put them anywhere you want.
So if you're looking for some new show jumps, some new cross-country jumps, check out Jump for Joy.
Welcome to Terra Nova Equestrian Center, located in Mayaca City, Florida, just a short drive from some of the nation's top beaches.
As a competitor, one of the most important things we look for when planning our competition calendar is the quality of course design and footing for our beloved equine athletes.
We are so excited to host our inaugural event, the Event at Terra Nova, this fall. This event was thoughtfully created by some of the most innovative and experienced minds in our sport.
The courses are run over gorgeous terrain, and we are proud to offer custom drainage and irrigation throughout all levels of competition. Terra Nova is certainly the gold standard, with 6 Wordley Martin GGT arenas and a Captain Mark Phillips designed and Eric Bull built cross-country course, complete with frangible technology.
We hope to create a special experience for all levels of riders.
Whether you're experiencing your first horse show or are a seasoned Olympic athlete, Terra Nova is excited to welcome you.
Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance. Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. You can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. This is our Christmas edition, and we have a special guest with us, Jon. We have Mr. David O'Connor with us.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thanks for coming over.
That was great. It's a long way. I mean, I flew in, it was
Yeah, it's tough. I appreciate you coming all the way up to the house, over the river and through the woods.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Grandma's house is right next door. So.
Right. That's great.
Well, I know Jon and I have been talking a little bit about things that's been going on, and you're on the FEI. You're on the FEI.
He is the
FEI. What's your FEI role now?
Yeah, I'm chair of the eventing committee, which then puts you, also then you have a seat on the board.
Right.
And things like that. So it's, I've been doing that for the last 4 years. And I just got, elected. They asked me if I would stay on, so I'm doing another 4 years.
That takes a lot of time, right?
It does. I mean, it's, we ended up, going down there and, we had to fly over there. It felt like I was flying over to Europe once a month.
Right. Pre-seashells.
Pre-seashells. So in the end, when you did that, you were flying over there for different things,
right.
FaceTime stuff, as well as the meetings. So it's, like the Federation work that we did, it's time consuming, but I think it's important when you're asked, that if you're asked, you step up and do it. I was asked a long time ago if I would do it, and it took me quite a long time to figure out whether I would, and then.
Right. I think with all of this craziness that's been going on with the thing of which we will not speak.
Seashells.
One of the things that, because I'm on the risk management group, right? One of the things that I've actually think has been, in all of my committees, has been really helpful is it's kind of forced us to do more stuff online and the Zoom calls and all of that. And I think there's actually been more communication through the FEI committees this year and post Seashells than there was before.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, when I was on the eventing committee a while ago, a number of years ago, and you had 2 meetings a year.
Right.
With very little communication in between. I actually started trying to get a conference call going, and that was hard to do. And so now, these are once a month, and we do, WebEx or Zoom calls, and it's worked out really well. I think there's no question that I think if something is big, if it's a big subject that maybe people all around the world don't agree with, or maybe even within the committee you don't agree with, you need FaceTime.
Yes.
Because I know in the way that we tend to set up those committees, committee meetings, which are 2 days, we'll actually start talking about it at first, but then I'll put it on the agenda like 4 times. And then all the way through the 2 days, so that you have time to talk, and you're having lunch, or you're having dinner, and then you're like there, and then the next thing will come up, and then we'll make a final decision at the end, and you really can't do that on a call.
Right.
But for a lot of the communication stuff and the calls, the Zoom calls, WebEx, whatever, Teams, whatever you use, have been real beneficial, I think.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And so, obviously, we just had the FEI, was it the General Assembly, right?
Yeah.
Where you got reelected, which is awesome. And then there were a bunch of rules that came through. And Rick, you actually had some questions about all those.
Well, not all of them. I mean,
all of them, every single one.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get my app. I'm gonna get my app out there.
Start looking at it. Well, I mean, one of them is one that's going to have to take an app. I think, to your point, your phone's going to have an app. You're going to have to take pre-temperatures before going into an FEI event for your horses, correct?
Well, actually, right now that's only in Europe.
Okay.
And with events that are over 400 horses.
Okay.
So, but the FEI has come out with a horse app, and they were going to come out with it separate, and then suddenly it kind of forced the issue.
Right.
And the virus that they had come through Europe with the horses last year, which just shut down everything indoors. So they launched this app, and it is a way for you to record. You have to record your horse's temperature. You have to make sure he's well. You have to do it while you're there, and also then going on to the next place, because those mainly the show jumping guys, they're on the indoor season right now.
Right.
And they're going from one place to another. So it's a very it's life on the road for those guys.
And then back and forth. I think Portugal's having their There's
Sunshine Tour.
right.
You know,
So
and
there's a lot of stuff going on.
Absolutely. So that's where it's coming from, and so it gives a way that everybody can get onto the same platform and be able to see it.
Which makes sense. So I think my conversation with John when I saw that FEI rule was, and you actually made a really good point.
Ah, do you guys hear that? Ha ha! Thank
Although
you.
your hair doesn't look, it looks fine.
Okay.
So tell me, in the vein of horses' health and the spread of disease, and I get all that, that's great. And I think that's probably a really good way to format doing that. Why do we have stuff, and I get asked this all the time, why can't you clip your horse's whiskers, or why can't you clip your horse's ears? And the FEI rule is, I mean, you could get eliminated.
Yeah, it's a European, it's come from Europe, it comes from European horse welfare things,
Right.
Which a lot of things actually end up doing. And so that has been a big move, they feel like the horses need that security for how they find things in the dark and.
Because our horses are out there all the time.
So, in Europe, so it did come from Europe, and
Right,
it's,
okay.
so it's, it gets pushed on. It's, you can kind of agree with it or kind of not.
Right.
It's like going down the road, and it's a little bit probably hard to argue against it in some ways, but it's.
Yeah,
like,
well, and
okay,
you know
but-
what? Like I
But
was
it's
pretty.
very much a European thing. There's no
Right.
question.
And I think it's to your. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. But I think it's ridiculous. That said, it doesn't hurt anything.
Well, here's the thing, there is we have one horse that if it has whiskers, it flicks its head, so you gotta get a letter from the vet that says that we have to clip the whiskers. So
Is that a thing? You can do that?
I don't know.
that's what we've been told we have to do, because he cannot go with whiskers. He flips his head and it just becomes a big issue.
Interesting.
So it has to have it's Munson Slew, it's my horse.
Right.
But the other thing is that I've seen people, like Briggs had a heart attack at Fair Hill, because I kind of went, the top of the hair ear was sticking out like this far, and I just trimmed it a little bit. He was like,
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you a really great story.
Oh, gosh.
Just to interrupt. This actually involves David peripherally.
It's always
On
really
his
Yeah,
ear.
so years ago, I won Red Hills, right? And the next year we go, and there's a billboard, downtown Tallahassee on the I-10 of me jumping Lion King.
Right.
In the show jumping.
I know,
And it's a
work
great
downtown, I saw
photo.
you every day.
You can see me, like, I can't really see my face because the helmet's covering because I'm ducking a little bit. And you can see Simba's ears, and there's hair shooting out of his ears because he was terrible. You could not get anywhere near his
So you were following FEI rule before it was FEI
Right.
rule.
And so Karen O'Connor, Mr. O'Connor's beautiful wife, comes up to me at Red Hills and says, Chuck, that billboard of you on the I-10, your horse's ears have hair sticking out. It looks terrible. How could you let that happen? And I said, well, Karen, I beat you, and that's why I got on the billboard. Maybe you should give it a better shot this year.
One more time.
Yeah. And you know what? It was one of the few times
She didn't
Karen
say
didn't
anything
have
back.
to come back.
That's awesome. And now that your horse would be fine.
Technically, I was under FEI rules then.
Yeah.
For 2021, I just didn't know.
So
Anyway, sorry.
back to the FEI rules, which it's good we can laugh about them, right? But they're always put in place, and I think the other one that I think you led was the double bridle in the 3-star, right? Which I agree with totally. I don't even think there should be a double bridle on the 4-star, to tell you the truth.
Oh God.
There was a couple.
Here we go.
That's just my opinion.
Well, the idea of the 3-star, the horse is really not in collection yet.
Right.
And it was supposed to be, if it says in the directive in regular dressage, that, double bridles come in when collection comes in. And at the 3-star level, you're really not doing that.
Right.
I mean, you're using it as a gadget. So, and actually, I didn't bring it forward. It was something that was brought forward from judges. And it went worldwide. I mean, we went riders, we asked riders, and owners, and we
Went through
really
the whole
did a lot of research about it, and then ended up coming down, because the original proposal was to take double bridles out as a whole.
Right.
And so then the compromise was 4-star and not 3-star, because 4-stars you do start with collection. So you're, so that was kind of the compromise of the situation.
Gotcha.
And the U.S. hasn't gone there yet in
In the national rules.
I would imagine they will though, because they usually end up trying to match up to keep.
And I did see something in the convention of matching FEI rule with the national rule.
Right.
Make it less confusing.
Yeah, you can always try and make it less confusing.
Right, that's the key. But you had a question about Hackamore.
Well, so I do have a question about Hackamores, but what I want to do because we're going to argue. And
We've done that before.
we about a lot of stuff, and we've done the Hackamore argument a few times. But I feel like it's been a draw, even though I think I've won. I feel like you think you've won. So what we're gonna do is take a quick break, and we're gonna be right back, and we are gonna go into a Hackamore conversation. Yeah, we might get close. All right, we'll be right back.
The holidays may seem far away, but they're really just around the corner. If you're looking for a heartwarming and custom gift to give this year, consider commissioning a piece by Tegan Henderson at Creature Feature Portraits. Choose between glasses or canvas to immortalize your beloved horses and pets. Creature Feature Portraits provides affordable and classy artwork for you and your home. Find Tegan on Instagram at creature_feature_portraits, and to inquire about commissions and pricing, text her at 774-278-1492.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are here in our Christmas special from our house here in Ocala, and we're really fortunate, David, you've agreed to stick around, so thank you.
That's great. Thanks. Very Merry Christmas. Your house looks great.
Nice tree. We had to turn the lights off. It affected the
Yeah,
camera.
imagine,
Yeah, we had some focus issues with the camera, and
It didn't want to focus on him. It wanted to focus on the tree.
He always wants to focus.
I tried smiling and still wouldn't go, so.
Let's talk about focus. Now, we left the last segment with some Hackamore debate. What's that?
Yeah, so this is not a new rule. This has been a rule now for several years. But you incorrectly feel that Hackamores should not be allowed on cross country. We're still allowed to show jump in them,
Totally.
but not
And
on
you
cross
can
country.
do cross country and a hack a bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean,
Have to do it.
in the rules, in the way that it's written, they've always been written that way, is that the reins have to be attached to a bit. That's been in the rules there forever. So we're like, well, wait a minute. What happens if there's no bit? So then the second part of it is the Hackamore I really feel and have seen overall, and you all know that I ride, in halters and jump in halters and jump rideless, but I would never think, and have done cross country schools in that, and I have no problem with it or have an intellectual problem with the schooling side of the equation. My side of the equation, which is really after 7-8 minutes, when the horses start to change, that the effectiveness of something like that goes away. And so that has been my argument right from the beginning. It's much more on that 6, 7, and 8 minute thing.
So you think they would start running through
They
the
do.
Hackamore?
They do,
They do.
and I don't. I mean, I know it.
Right.
That's the only thing.
So what do you have to say to that?
I have to say that I'm just going to text my child to bring the dog in, that's barking outside.
Yeah.
So let me do that briefly.
So, squirrel.
Squirrel. Squirrel, run. Well, that's fine. While he does that, we're going to continue on.
I'm back. So your point, I think, is you just think they go numb to it after
Yes,
a while.
yeah.
So,
I think,
has it ever happened to you?
I look at it from a risk management point of view. I've ridden horses for a long time, even at gallops, and
You've ridden for a long time.
ridden them.
Oh.
That guy? Really? That guy? He rode? Huh? Why is he sitting there? So yes, and so I do. Feel a difference even in a gallop. When let's say doing 3 6s or 3 whatever, the difference between the last
Right.
time is different than the first part. And so for me, then there's a risk management issue.
But there's been successful 5-star competitors who competed in Hackamore's, did a really good job of it. One of them was Amy Tryon with Poggio did it.
Yeah, we always use this example.
Yeah, right. Because you
Fell
said
at
to
the
me,
games.
whoever rode in a Hackamore, I'm like, Amy Tryon.
Fell at the games, yeah. So they.
Yeah, but she also did it really well a lot with that horse.
Yeah, I mean, she mixed it up quite a bit with the horse, and but there's always exception to any rule.
Right.
That's always going to happen, but I just don't. I think in the general feeling of it, knowing that feeling myself,
right,
and in the way that we train and ride and all that kind of stuff, that wouldn't be something that I would feel comfortable with. And the riders that I really talk to around the upper level riders, is certainly that we talked to around the world when we were having this conversation, they were like, "Oh no."
I just don't understand it. I guess my point, and we could go on about this forever, but it's not something like a double twisted wire bit that is going to cut their mouth, which actually, as I say that, I've never cut a horse's mouth in one of those. It's not going to cause a problem to the horse from the pressure of it. And I guess my point, which I've said, is I just don't like taking the options away. There's going to be somebody someday that's what they need to go in. Maybe the horse has cuts in its mouth or whatever. And I just
Can't you just ride off the rein for the hack a bit on the nose piece?
Well, it depends on how it's put together, I guess.
Always with 2 reins.
I don't like riding in 2 reins, David. I want a converter, and then I can't ride on the Hackamore.
John, I just don't know how we're going to get through this.
I don't want to ride in 2 reins. That's really what this is.
I don't even think you have a horse that goes in a Hackamore.
No, I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't, but I might. I feel like at some point I might.
Why don't you ride Profit in a Hackamore?
Do you know what's
We
actually?
can agree to disagree on this.
We're gonna have to. The last funny thing I will tell you about this is I was talking with Leslie about it a year or 2 ago, and he's like, "Well, I've never ridden in a Hackamore in my life," and I'm like, "Really? I feel like I've seen you compete in a Hackamore." He's like, "No, never." So I went and I looked, and there's a beautiful photo of him jumping sheer low in a Hackamore at Kentucky, and I'm like, "Right here, pay attention." And he's like,
"Oh, that's a Hackamore?"
No, he goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that."
He probably fell on cross country with the Hackamore, and that's why he doesn't remember it.
Right, yeah, perfect. I don't think that's what happened.
Well, are there any rules that came through the last setting that's in place that we haven't heard about yet that's going to be shocking or anything?
I don't think that's anything, revolutionary, no question. I mean, you always have to read them to make sure that you're, up on what's going on. That's really important at the beginning of the year to make sure that you're up on it. But I don't think there's anything that was that revolutionary between that. There's a huge rule revision going on this year because the FEI does their full rules every 4 years, and then you can change ones in between that maybe are not working or need tweaked or something like that. And so the big rule revision is this year. That's coming up. So if anybody has some ideas, and it's the typical thing, everybody says there's way too many rules.
Right.
But you dealing with the USCF and my time in the HSA and the USCF and all the ones in between, it's the same thing. We're like, well, then don't stop proposing them.
Right.
Because most of the rules actually come from members, or they come from national federations. They're not coming from the eventing committee. The eventing committee is the one that kind of has to decide, what is relevant after research. But they're not. Most of the rules that come up are not coming from eventing committee, just like the technical committee in the USCF.
Yeah,
not the ones that are coming up with the rules.
Right.
They're the ones that are deciding, is that rule relevant for now?
Right. The affiliate USCA might come up with something.
And USCF, it's any member.
Right.
So that was always my line after a while. So well, then there's way too many rules. Well, then stop proposing them.
Right. Well, and the other thing I remember being told, I don't remember if you said it or who said it, was like, okay, so for every new rule we pass, we need to eliminate one. And then that would get really complicated.
Yeah, we could get rid of dressage. You could,
Oh, that'd be
you could
great.
You'd be a bunch of things could happen in a heartbeat if you really.
Just
And
click it out.
and a ping pong ball that you draw out of a bowl.
Right?
Right. So you wouldn't have, there's no choice of what rule you get. You're like, oh, dressage is gone. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, Hackamores are allowed.
USCF rules. There you go.
Yeah.
No, FEI.
Yeah, going from rules to what's been going on in the United States. Now, you were a part of the USCF as being a team coach. What do you think is going on with the what's happening now? What we have to do to really focus for the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, I'm watching and reading like everybody else.
Right.
You know, so much I'm not involved. I'm not on any committee. I'm
Sure.
not any group like that. So, you know, I'm watching alongside everybody else. Obviously, people talk to me around
Right.
sport about it, and I think, you know, I actually, and I'll say it right now. I actually think eventing's going up. Right. I think in the next couple of years, you're going to see U.S. eventing be more successful, and the reason why I say that is because that next generation. You know, they're good riders. They're well educated. They're talented. They've got some funding behind them, and they've already gone through a struggle now.
Right.
You know, they were successful when they were young, and then they disappear like everybody does.
Right.
And then they've gone through a struggle and have come back, and those are the ones that usually go on and do something really good in the sport. And I think there's 4 or 5 of those guys that have done that are on that rebound, you know, of that third section of their career that are really good. So I actually think, my belief is, I think eventing's on its way up. I think you'll probably end up with some manager more than a coach type thing for a country this big. That was, you know, even in my time, trying to find a dressage coach or it never worked. It never worked.
Right.
And so the responsibility of you getting there in the place to be able to win is still your responsibility, and I don't care who's up there.
Right. So in a managerial position, you still have to win.
You still got to win. I mean, and you got to drive yourself to be good enough to win. So it's
Right.
not just win, though. You got to put yourself in people. If the people around you are not getting you there, then change. I mean, Karen and I moved to England
Right.
because
You
of
needed
that
the right
situation.
people.
And so I think the internal drive for you to be the best that's no real coach is going to tell you.
It ultimately comes
you
down
need
to
to find that and
Right.
produce it and
We
go
talk
ahead.
about
I think that support, and then the federation supports that in its own way.
Right. I want to keep going on that, but we do have to take a quick break.
Sure.
And then we'll come back. I want to keep going on that, and then obviously we do have to talk about Christmas and what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
So take a quick break. Right back.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. You can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Hi, I'm Liz Halliday Sharp. I'm an international event rider based in Ocala, Florida, and Lexington, Kentucky. We love our Jump for Joy jumps. We're able to take the fillers and portables with us back and forth between our 2 locations, which is really helpful. And we especially love the cross-country portable fences. We have lots of different ones so that we can bring them between Lexington and Ocala, and we've always got something exciting for the horses to learn and jump over. We love our fences, and we would recommend Jump for Joy to anybody.
When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the Jon and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm It's the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, an amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can-Do Joe Adams of Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We're in the last segment of our Christmas special. We're still joined with David O'Connor, and we are sitting here with our ugly sweaters.
I love
What do you
this.
think?
This is really good, huh?
Yeah,
You like it?
And it's nice because, it's so cold outside.
Yeah, ugly sweaters are alive and well in Florida.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I think I'm fancy.
You are fancy.
You are.
So for those of
This
you
is
who are
like that
watching
black.
this
Very good.
on Facebook or YouTube, you may by the end of the segment see some sweat.
Exactly. Florida.
Yeah, David's gonna be beating a little bit on his forehead, but we're gonna struggle through just to have the spirit of Christmas here. We tried to get David to dress up as Santa. He was all in, and then you sort of backed out
I
on it.
did, yeah. I was like,
It was over the hill and dale, and
It was
something
a little-
happened.
it was a little bit too close.
Yeah. You said it, not me.
That's funny. We got to get back to what we were talking about.
Yeah,
Wish.
so it was the high performance stuff, and
Right.
sort
Well,
of
David, you obviously you've been there. You've had the pressures of that job. Do you think there's anybody out there that can really handle that job?
Oh, I definitely think from a manager point of view, you need somebody that obviously everybody respects and
Right.
is good at the logistics and side, and then I think the high performance committee or whatever that's going to be really needs to decide what the policy is going to be.
Right.
Let's go to 4 Nations Cups. Let's do
What is
whatever.
it?
Right, and then the manager really implements that policy. I think that's the big thing is to get that side of the equation kind of back into the game. To the group of people really kind of decides what when you're talking about money and things like that. Because
Sure.
at some point you got to get down to the money side.
Yeah, because that's what's driving it.
Right. So
At the end of
how
the day.
the grants are, what grants are available, and how we go. Obviously and funny enough, everybody's a little bit worried about the worlds. Funny enough, I'm not worried about the worlds. I think the guys that are going to be selected, those
They've got their thing.
they're there. They're there, and they're playing the game. And whoever's going to be, good luck, bad luck, that's going to happen here in the next couple of months, but they're going to be ready.
Right.
I think they'll be ready.
We talked about that.
And I think the logistics going to Pretoria has been done before. We know the site, so it's not a new site and all that good stuff. So I think they'll, I'm not so much worried about that.
Well, and to that point, the logistics side of it from the Federation is going to be in great shape, because I was saying to Rick earlier in the show, the girls in the office in the eventing department are amazing.
Totally.
The eventing department at USCF has it handled. There is nothing that's going to go wrong there.
Yeah, and one of the things I really think also, and could be a little bit controversial.
Ooh, here we
to
go.
put it out, but I really do believe that the high performance director in the staff should not be director of eventing.
Right?
I believe that the director of eventing should be one of the people we have that are in the office and they're going to stay, and they're dealing with
Everyday
logistics,
things.
everything top to bottom. And I think it actually turns the high performance person loose.
Right?
That they don't have to think about a lot of these other things. They need to figure out how the high performance plugs into the sport, but not having they have to think about they have to drive the sport. So I really feel like that person, whoever that person's going to be hired, needs to be not the director of eventing, but they are a director of the high performance eventing.
So do you think that could be a situation where you have director of eventing gets hired, as in the position that was vacated by Jenny, and they deal with the sport as a whole, and then you get this whoever the managerial person is going to be, and you make them the director of eventing?
Could be, I don't know. I mean, that would be out of my pay grade because that's you're sitting in the seat
Right.
for the USCF. But if that's one person or two persons, maybe it's the manager and and some support or something like that. But obviously there needs to be office support behind it.
Right.
So, but I just feel like I think the director of eventing should be director of eventing, and the high performance person should really, that's all they think about,
Right.
is how do we make this high performance program work?
So it works, I see what he's saying, so it still works the kind of same way. Those two
Yeah.
are traveling around doing all the things
Yeah.
that they do, and that one person doesn't still have to go back and go,
Yeah,
nuts
and
and bolts.
the director of eventing is at home.
right,
I mean,
exactly,
they stay in
doing
the
what they
office
need to
and
do
they
and
do.
say, here, feed you,
Right.
this is what we got.
Exactly, so
Well,
that's what I feel.
It does make sense because there's been plenty of times where I've had to deal with national stuff going on, and you send an email and you get back an automatic reply, we're at this team
Yeah,
competition in Belgium or the Netherlands or where, and you're like, really, I guess we're gonna have to wait on all of this stuff at home while we're dealing with that,
Yeah.
so.
So that's a suggestion of mine, we'll see what it.
I like
how it
that
all goes
suggestion,
out. I'm
just
not,
put that out there.
you're not in the seat, so you don't know,
Right.
all the ins and outs of things, but that's I've thought that for a long time, actually.
Right, it's a good idea.
I mean.
And that's the first I've heard of
several
that, so that's a very good idea. You still have some good ideas, good job.
years. Yeah, well.
Just don't come up with them.
So when you're wearing a sweater like this, how can you not come up with it?
Well, I know.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I know, David, that you and Karen are having some exciting times because you now have a property next to Mrs. Marr's farm,
Yes.
and it's a beautiful piece of property. I've seen you developing it. It's coming along. How's that coming?
It's great. I mean, we're 5 years into this thing, and it came with no buildings. Still has no buildings on it except for some sheds for some barns, and we put fencing in. So it's a slow process.
Right.
Just we did a lot of clearing this year. We've been doing clearing for 5 years. What's a cattle farm? So God knows how much tonnage of wire
Right.
and I still find wire.
Right.
And axles through the middle of trees and things like that. So it was for 50, 60 years it was a cattle farm, and so just cleaning it up to make it a horse farm has been the #1 priority that we have.
So, and I
But it's
just
just pretty pleased.
it's beautiful, and just because I know some of the details, you come across, you did a lot of clearing, but you also had some issues because you came down the backside of the property and there was a water feature. And so, did that throw some stuff
Well, the
into
guys
it?
that had it before, they tried to turn the whole thing, and I think to turn around and sell it, they tried to fill
the water
and
feature.
and it's quote unquote wetlands.
Right, so they tried to backfill in wetlands.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And we didn't know that, and we bought the property, as is, and so we had to redo it. And so there's.
So basically the state came in and made you redo it?
Yeah. Totally.
Wow.
So 2.5 acres, I guess, we put a berm back in, and there's lots of negotiations because there was a pond on it. And I'm like, well, okay, well, the berm was man-made back in the 40s, so are we putting it in the way it was made at the beginning?
Right.
Or are we putting it back the way that you guys knew it,
Right.
which was man-made?
Right.
And that stumped them for a while. And so we put it back in the way that we put the berm back in, so there's a pond, and it's fixed the problem.
It's beautiful.
And it's, it's a wild 2 acres, and it's wild.
Right.
We can walk through it, but basically it's, that it takes that kind of 2, maybe 3 acres.
Yeah, so your piece of property starts at the top of the road, and then it goes
And
down,
then there's a middle, and then
and then it goes back up.
And actually, the back is a fabulous riding place.
Right.
And so we've got 3 or 4 riding places that we have in the thing around with the barns, so it's a fun project.
So what's
It's
your
really
5-year
enjoyable.
build-out plan? What do you look like?
We put a temporary barns on it we now have people come in and stay there for the winter.
Right.
So we put a temporary barn up, which is actually really attractive because you take it away. And the horses like it.
Right.
And then it goes away.
Right.
And then you bring it, so that's kind of attractive in some
Right.
ways. But I think the barn will be, that's the next
The
stage.
next step.
It's
Now, I know
spring
we've worked
this year.
together a little bit on some stuff, but steel prices and stuff
Right.
have been skyrocketing.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we got hit by all of that.
It's
construction
crazy.
prices going up 40-50%, that you're
Right.
like, okay, we're just
Well,
putting brakes
hopefully,
on this.
hopefully that's
Put
going to
brakes on
fix
that.
itself somehow, some way. But yeah, I'm excited for you because we did see some more tree removal
Oh, yeah.
when we went by, Grace and I drove by. So
Yeah,
cool.
It's really neat. I mean, and with everything that's happening around here, with Ocala growing like it's growing,
Right.
it was a good time to get in.
But it's-
I wish we'd gotten in 20 years ago, but still.
Yeah, but in 20 years, you'd be saying, I wish we got in 20 years ago.
Yeah,
so
totally.
there you go.
And so Ocala's really growing as a horse community. I still think this is one of the most diverse horse communities I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Middleburg is, where we live in the summer. That is also, it's got show jumping and polo. And,
Right.
not a ton of Western, but here you have Pasafinos, you got Arabians, you've got the racing, you've got all of this kind of stuff here. It's by far, I think, the most diverse equine long.
I agree with
All you have to do is drive down to WEC to see it, because we actually just bought tickets, which
To
you
the-
guys should
To
go
the radio, I mean radio.
to the rodeo, to the
All right.
Yeah.
bull riding on New Year's Eve. Which, how cool is that going to be?
Yeah.
And it appeals to me because it's done at 10.
And they use
It's done
Hackamores.
at 10, exactly.
And I can go to bed.
And they use Hackamores.
That's always the thing that cracks me up about rodeos and, well, bull riding especially. Like, you know, I never really got interested in it because I love to watch it. But you're like, even if you win, you get fucked up.
Yeah, every
Well,
time.
I mean, if I, you know, at least when I won, I didn't, because I didn't get bucked off.
Right.
And if I win, I got bucked off anyway. I'm like, what's the point of this?
I know, you're always
Except
gonna- you're always
for
gonna get that.
they get a way bigger check than we ever
Yeah.
got. So
Yeah.
we'll say that. So.
They
We
make
gotta figure that
trucks and
piece out.
stuff.
No, yeah. It's great. It's fun to watch. I mean, I enjoy
We'll
it.
be there.
Are you going to go?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We just bought our tickets.
We'll
So,
do that too.
yeah, you got to go. It'll be a
Yeah.
great time for
For sure.
sure.
So I got a question though. I have one
Yeah.
more thing on your farm. I know we're winding down into the Christmas session. Do you have a name for the farm?
We actually don't. We own it with some friends of ours that are Canadian, Karen and they were working students together,
Right.
Way back when, and so they.
So that's a work in progress.
I think
So it's kind of we haven't really named it.
this is a
Yeah.
great opportunity, David, for some sort of a fundraiser, like name the
GoFundMe
O'Connors.
on my property. That'd be great.
Yeah, a name the O'Connors property,
Yeah.
and the winner, like, make them like. There's got to be a way we can do this.
The winner can do something.
The winner gets a tour of the farm with David and Karen or something.
I think definitely it's got to be some connection with Canada and U.S. There's no question.
Yeah.
There you
There
go.
has to be a
Yeah.
thing. Colin, and, yeah, they're great. They're great guys. Yeah,
Alright.
Colin and Les Gregory.
We'll think on that
for
one.
a long time.
I like that. I
So-
like that.
But it's a fun project, and it was fun because it was a blank piece.
Right.
You know, so you get to kind of create it. There was no buildings to deal with.
Well, I tell you, I've seen Karen over the last 2 summers. She's been staying in Ocala during the summer while you go to Virginia.
Yeah, because her mother's
here,
yeah.
but I see her out there just on the tractor.
She's on it. Yeah, we did paint a bunch
She
of
loves
sheds. She painted a bunch of sheds the other
Yeah,
day.
she said she was doing that,
She is
painting
full
sheds.
on. She's full on.
Well, we'll have to
Well,
come
It's
out.
a great project.
It
We'll have
feels
to come
good
out and
having
check
your
out
own
the farm.
place.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got a little bit of everything, you know, we got jumps over there.
Maybe
we
a
got
potbelly
live places.
pig.
Oh, that's a good idea.
There's one next door.
You know, I want a mini donkey.
Like-
That's what we should get.
No, we have it, yeah. Donkeys are actually great. I don't know about mini donkeys, but donkeys are great for the coyotes.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's why they're so popular down here in Florida on the farms.
Keep the coyotes
Keep
away
the
from the
coyotes
pigs.
away. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna finish this segment up, and then we're gonna grab a bite to eat. And I want you to sort of push on Jen a little bit about the mini donkey thing for me, because I really want one, and she won't let me.
Well, all I've got to do is talk about coyotes that might be attacking your property, and the mini coyotes.
Let's go with the idea that the mini donkeys are good for coyotes.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
All right, I'll go.
All right.
You heard it here.
Well,
You
but
heard
don't
it.
tell Jen that you heard it here, please, because I want a mini donkey, and I don't want her to know that I planned this.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, don't tell her. All right. They won't say anything.
They
They're
won't
very
say
loyal.
things. There will be secrets out in public.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're very, very private.
That's
So,
funny.
thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in. Merry
That's great.
Christmas to you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas, everybody.
Hey,
You got the
everybody,
sweater?
thank you so
Gotta keep
much.
the sweater.
Yeah, that's your sweater.
Yeah.
It's Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. You got it. And by the way, your next show for the Jon and Rick Show will be in year 2022. So thanks a lot. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, guys.
Rick Wallace,
And I have Don Holly here with me.
3 phases, dressage, cross country, show jump, and you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right, you know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently.